Earlier in the day, I pointed out to you that there were 4 main categories of barrier, bottleneck, challenge that we saw as being important to focus on early on. You've heard all through the morning about the first of those. You've heard in the afternoon a bit about the second one, which is a much more sticky, difficult area, but where we have some ideas, we have some initiatives, we have some traction. And in fact, one of the videos out on display is for an interoperability asset register, a way of trying to promote the reuse of standards and other interoperability assets to stop projects reinventing the wheel. And Alberto and Geert and Inge, who are in the room, have been helping to develop that. And Brendan Delaney is offered to help us now to try and take that forward and help scale it up. So that's another example of an initiative on that score. On data quality, I'll come back to in a moment. And on sustainability and the scalability of solutions, I think that's a permeating theme you've heard a bit about today. It's something that we do want to work forward on. But I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts before I just tell you a bit about the Institute itself. It's a time of great excitement, and we see, all of us are seeing, the world of data growing, more and more technology, more and more data volumes, more and more stakeholders engaging with data. And so it's inevitable that the industry right across are excited about the opportunity space and think this is a fantastic place where life is going to be fun and exciting. You've heard today about challenges. There are locations, there are data sources, if you like, that we are now looking upon as opportunity spaces. The classical, if you like, health service research ones that are closer to the patient now starting to emerge, and even those things that are not necessarily patient-centric, like geosensing and climate and atmosphere. We know that bringing all these together represent an opportunity to get that holistic understanding of health, illness, wellness, prevention. But we get very excitable about the opportunities, but we need also to be cautious and humble about why it's hard. And some of the reasons why it's hard is because at the end of the day, we are often dreaming about analyzing data that is being put into systems by very busy junior staff. They need much more incentive to really feel motivated. And we heard earlier on about the importance of giving some feedback, some ability to internally reuse data. The same is true of the systems. Our systems today have not all been designed to be care team centric, to be patient-centric. And we need to see that change because our dreams are not going to become reality. That data is not going to hit the quality spot we need unless we tackle these blue areas. Are they blue for you? They're blue for me. Yeah, they are blue for you. Okay, good. Okay. If we do, we then start to be able to see the data becoming of the kind of quality that has been implied all through today. Because until we have those qualities in the data, we can't have trustworthy inferences. We can't therefore make decisions that are true and meaningful unless we look after the quality of the data. So what we have is 4 messy, crowded zones on that slide, representing the kind of messiness of our reality space today. But actually what we're missing in this is a strong driver to make it happen. Where is the energy going to go on this side of the slide to address the problems on this slide so that we actually realize those quality objectives at the top? And that is a culture. The magic that we really need to share is a culture of wanting to put health data to good use for a variety of purposes that span the learning health system environment, but also, importantly, patient empowerment. And so really the magic that we have to drive is that culture. We have to have what Petra called a desire. If there is a desire, which is what that central part of the slide is about, we can then bring the other things into play and achieve the great data we need. Now that culture is actually something that IHD was formed to look into and to try to take forward. All of the issues and challenges that we've looked at today are problems that cannot be solved by any single stakeholder. If they could have been solved by any single stakeholder, they would have been solved already. The reason that these have been long-standing, thorny problems, wicked problems sometimes people nickname, is because these people need to work together. They need to co-create the solutions. And so a part of what we've tried to do is to identify connection points into all of these different stakeholder groups, to bring them together, to share what they have so far gained and learned, whether it's projects or initiatives or individual groups that have solution spaces. And really, it's about developing enablers. IHD is not about just talking and feeling miserable about how life is. If you've been in many data protection conferences or discussions or workshops, and I've been in a hell of a lot, what I usually find is you end up chewing over the problem and realizing how hard it is and reminding yourself how insoluble it is, and everybody walks away feeling a bit depressed. Except those people who've made money from the conference, who are actually delighted because they've got an excuse for another one next year. We want to build enablers. We want to tackle things where we can find a discrete thing we can bite off and actually develop something that takes things forward a little bit. But multi-stakeholder is critical. And so this slide is our governance slide. It's the only bit of bureaucracy in the day, I think. The purpose of showing you this slide is the bottom part, really, that we've defined IHD as a member organisation, and we've defined, after a lot of consultation and wrestling, a set of categories of stakeholder groups. They don't exactly correspond with the previous slide, but they map to them and they're pretty close. We've defined a multi-stakeholder category system here. And the whole of the way IHD is governed is that these stakeholder groups elect the board in category ways so that the board that is elected is deliberately and forcibly multi-stakeholder. And that board is the one that will determine our annual strategy, approve our budget, and help agree how we win and then use resources that we get. So this is a very deliberately multi-stakeholder engagement organization. It's not Dipak telling everybody what to do, I damn well hope. It's a group coming together to help work together and solve real problems. That's our spirit. I'd like to just close by saying that, if we achieve this, then what we really want to do is to help that middle bit of my crowded slide. We need to demonstrate, really enable value and demonstrate value to these different communities from great uses of health data. And in the middle of the slide here, you have a whole series of bullets, areas that we would like to focus on and try to demonstrate value, about how can evidence from outcomes derived from data improve healthcare. Can we improve the efficiency of clinical research? That was my first slide this morning on the problem space. Can we help make public health decisions and health service decisions better informed through health data? I don't mean IHD is going to do all this, but can we build the evidence of how the data are being used, because we then drive the incentives and the business models and the investments in the future towards better data. So can we get improvements in the quality of data? Can we improve data protection and improve societal acceptance? And I don't mean we as in IHD alone, but can we help catalyze those things amongst the many active players? The next thing we want to turn to is actually to link together the healthcare organizations that do contribute data into learning health systems and into research. We want to launch a network of excellence, initially for hospitals, starting through the Champion program as our low-hanging fruit, but very open to other hospitals, even from day one. And what I'm in the process of doing is collecting together a core team of, if you like, network champions from different backgrounds who will help together to formalize and then to really actively champion this network of excellence. John, who's just spoken, is one such person. Martin, who held together the pilot sites in EHR4C is another such person. I won't have any more names to give you now, but I'm working on who are those champions. The list is not closed. If you're a candidate champion, please tell me. We're very keen to help hospitals to really mobilize on issues of data quality, on making better learning use of their data, and, if that's appropriate, connecting into the Insight platform you've heard about, but that's not a mandatory part of the network. So those are the kind of things we want to do. There was a question about whether we are European, and to some extent we're European because that was the easiest place to start. We were funded through and founded through European projects, and so we've started with a European footprint. But every single issue you've heard about today, all of the standards and things that support interoperability, most of the issues of data protection and privacy, even though we have European legislation, the issues are relatively global. And our view is that many of the customers, if you like, standards bodies, EHR vendors, pharma, operate globally. And therefore we would be very happy to see ourselves networking at a global level, not necessarily growing and occupying the globe. We don't have to have it all ourselves. We can share with other organizations of like mind in other parts of the world. But where appropriate, we're very happy to connect into other parts of the world. And that's basically our story. I'm very grateful to all of you for having traveled with us today. There are many, many people in the audience who have been part of our journey. They've helped give birth to this institute. They are already brains trusts helping to work on it. So in a way, this is me just acting as the front guy for many people who are part of this organization.